Hi, everybody, and welcome back to yet another cracking edition of The Matt Brown Show. This is the Secrets of Fail series, where we are talking to successful entrepreneurs. We can query what success means another day, but they're successful as far as I'm concerned. And so with us in the hot seat today is Steve Reinharz. He is the CEO of a company called AITX.ai. Steve, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Matt. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome, Steve. Cool, buddy. So let's get into the meat and the potatoes here. So what is your elevator pitch and what are you guys up to there at AITX?
Sure. We see a connected future that has several different types of autonomous robots running around and performing work alongside and for humans. We aim to be one of those companies that dominate the market with these solutions. We're starting with the security and property technology industries, working for security type robots, property technology type robots as well. Our products are connected via cellular, which is an essential part of the fourth industrial revolution. And we just hope to be part of this changing world.
Mm-hmm. So is it true, Steve, that your company is going to be creating robot babysitters for my children?
Absolutely. In time, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's a reality, isn't it? I mean, I think we're kind of underestimating like the kind of value and how what you guys are building there at AITX is actually going to change the way that we live.
I've been saying for years, I've been challenging people for years to suggest some job function or task that people think can't be done by robots. And then I'll go into a little description of how it can be done by a robot and how it will be done by a robot and how it will be done better. And yes, these changes are going to fundamentally change how our society operates, which is a hallmark of an industrial revolution. We're moving from the third industrial revolution, characterized by what microchips did for us, into the fourth industrial revolution, characterized by what AI and instant connectivity will do for us.
Amazing. We've got to do another show about that altogether, but we don't have time for that on this series, Steve. So what is your epic story of fail for our audience around the world today?
You know, I have had a few failures, right? But specifically, you asked for the biggest one. The biggest one put me out of business when I was 31, which was 20 years ago. It was my first big business that I created when I was 23, and I had taken a large project. We were pretty successful. We were in our 7th year of operations at the time, and we were making money. We were dialed in, and I took a very large project, a $14 million project, and we were only doing about $6 million or so a year. The project was going to be over 2 years. It was going to kind of double our size, and we ran into significant changed conditions on site with asbestos. And instead of me following the letter of the law, which is stop work, get change orders from your customer, and then continue work, what we did is we wanted the project to keep on going, so we mitigated the asbestos per the proper methods, but we never got the signed paperwork from the client. And the client deemed not to pay us. And the project was of such size and magnitude that we had to close operations.
Sorry to hear that, brother. But when you look back at that and with the luxury of hindsight, like what would you do differently? Well, no, what did you learn from that first and foremost?
3 main things. The first thing is written contracts matter. Have your documents and paperwork in order. Document everything. That's lesson number 1. Lesson number 2 is as much as we might not want to believe it, there are bad people out there that have nefarious aims and will take advantage of you and will use their words casually without sincerity. And number 3, if you are doing things in your life the right way and something bad happens, you will land on your feet.
Awesome. So, Steve, if you could get into the Matt Brown Show time machine and have the luxury of going back in time to, this whole story, and when that was all going down, what would you do differently and why?
I would have immediately stopped work per the rules and either forced them to properly handle the asbestos payments to us, or walked off the job without having a loss. That's what I would have done.
Yeah. And Steve, what is your advice to other CEOs, entrepreneurs out there in terms of the importance of failing or failure in business success? Obviously, you lost a whole business. I mean, my episode I did also was about losing a business. Many of the guys on here was like, oh, my product launch, didn't work or something like that, that they didn't lose everything. And so when you think about that, like, what is your advice today to an entrepreneur CEO out there?
Well, the first thing is in preparation for our time here, I split the question into two. And I thought that there were distinct differences between entrepreneur and CEO. And for the CEO, implying that they have an ongoing venture, I don't really have any advice. They're in the thick of it. They're battling every day. It would be insincere of me to offer some general advice. There's plenty of people out there that do that. So I don't want to share any advice to ongoing CEOs, but to the entrepreneur, which in my mind implies that there is no venture yet. Maybe they're at the idea stage or the very early stages. My advice is to look deep within themselves and to really honestly evaluate if they are afflicted, and I use that word very specifically, with the entrepreneurial bug. Are you doing this for money, or are you doing this because this is in you and this is how you are built? I would suggest that if you're doing this for money, that motivation might not be strong enough to get you through the bad times. And I would suggest you reevaluate.
Yeah, I think entrepreneurship sometimes is not just a way in, it's a way out. And to your point, I think knowing exactly what kind of entrepreneur you are, like, why are you doing it? Are you doing it to make the world a better place? Because you right. suffer from this problem yourself. I actually know what, I think if to your point, by the way, I love the distinction CEO, entrepreneur. For me, they're one and the same thing. They're just labels. You're building something. But if you think about in fact, I can tell you a lot of the guys who come on the show, girls too, where they've built $100 million businesses, they woke up one morning and were like, this sucks for me. And then they were like, but how many other people does this suck for? You know what I'm saying? And then they went off there and and it's amazing how much of the genesis, the seeds behind businesses that do scale, that do become successful are not built through the motivation of capitalism necessarily, but they had this problem. They were like, you know what, let me go out there and see if I can find other people with that same problem. And then they do. And then that's when they start, and obviously failure is part of that process. But when they get to the other side, they've built that business to, the level that they always aspired it to be.
And that's why I'm saying money is not the biggest motivation for, I think, the entrepreneurs that I know, and certainly how I'm built. I need a higher purpose. I need a bigger purpose. I need a bigger mission. I need a bigger challenge than just making money.
Well, Steve, thanks so much for being on the show, dude. I appreciate you for that, and for lending your perspective on the importance of failure. Just one more thing I forgot to ask you. What about books, tools, and resources? Is there something that you've read recently that you recommend to other CEOs, entrepreneurs out there?
Unfortunately, I don't have a good answer for you there either. I'm so engrossed in my world that I don't look outside that much. And it's probably a failing on my side, but there's just so much to do. I just plug away. Yeah. Sorry, Matt. Sorry, I don't have an enlightened answer for you there.
No, that's all good, dude. Well, look, appreciate you being on the show, Steve. And yeah, man, I know what you guys have done, and it's pretty awesome, man. 7 years in, and yeah, you guys are huge valuation wise. So congrats.
I love that, and thank you, Matt. Thank you for the work you do, sharing, allowing CEOs to share these responses. Thank you.
Cool, buddy. Thanks, everyone.